Since the release of Novelette, I have had a hard time going back to one of my favorite DPSs, and it's just personally for me. I like running him because he's so cool, but it's been tough to go back to him. But I will say at least he did get something from this recent update with the release of Furina. And of course, the character that I'm talking about is none other than Kamisato Ayato. And I really do like his kit in general, and I do think that he does get a little bit of a benefit from Furina. So today we're going to be doing a updated build guide for version 4.2 part 2 with Ayato being released here soon. Now of course, if you like the content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below, hit that notification bell to be notified of when the next Genshin Impact video comes out, and of course leave a comment. Would love to hear you guys' opinions. Guys, again, I shill it all the time. Gamer subs, look at that, that's beautiful. Gamer subs right now has a wonderful deal going now with the anime girl thighs getting a kind of new 1 out of 10 limited edition skin if you order. And then of course we also have the relaunching of Cursed Energy, which is the Jujutsu Kaisen X Gamer subs flavor that released with the Jujutsu Kaisen cups. Now again, use code Teister for code, or use code Teister for code. Use code Teister for 10% off at checkout. And of course, let's go ahead and get into today's video. Kamisato Ayato, being the one-handed sword user and of the Hydro element, is a really fun DPS character in my personal opinion, but we'll get to that here in just a second. First things first, what you're going to need to ascend your Ayato from level 1 to level 90. Let's go ahead and talk about it first. We have right here the Varunata Lazurite Silvers, the Lazurite Fragments, the Lazurite Chunks, and the Lazurite Gemstones. Rules of 3 always apply here. You're going to need 3 silvers to make a fragment, 3 fragments to make a chunk, and 3 chunks to make a gemstone. Now, in total, you're going to need 1 silver, 9 fragments, 9 chunks, and 6 gemstones. Now, what bosses are you going to need to be able to get these? Now, first things first, you have Oceanid, which is one of the OG Hydro bosses out there. You're going to need to fight the Hydro Hypostasis or the new boss that just came out called the Hydro Tulpus. But I will also say that you should probably fight the Hydro Hypostasis because you're going to need 46 of their drop, the Dew of Repudiation. You're going to need 46 of these, which means that you're going to have to fight that boss 13 to 16 times, which is a chore. I know. It's a chore, but we have to do it. You know what I mean? So I digress. You're going to need to fight it, so just get it done. You know, and I'm sorry, not 13 to 16. I did mess up on that number just a little bit. You're going to need to fight it at most 23 times. It's pretty nutso. At most 23 times. So not 13 to 16. So my apologies. At most 23 times. Sucks balls. I know, but you got to do it. Anyways, let's also go ahead and talk about these Sakura Blooms. Sakura Bloom is the bane of my existence because what you have to do to get these is you have to use Electro to electrocute the little Sakura orbs that you see around Inazuma to get the Sakura Blooms. You're going to need a grand total of 168 of these. Ayato's been out for a long time. Inazuma's been out for a long time. I'm sure that nobody is needing Sakura Blooms. Just ask people. Of course, one thing I will say, just to go on a quick tangent, make sure that you ask people before you start taking stuff in their worlds. Come on now. Come on. Common courtesy. But you're going to need 168 of those. Now let's go ahead and talk about this next thing right here. What you're going to need are these little sword hilts, as you see. You're going to need first the old handguards. You're going to need the Kageguchi handguards, and then you're also going to need the famed handguards. Now, rules of 3 again. The olds are going to go into the Kageuchi 3, and then 3 of the Kageuchi go into the famed. It's pretty simple. Now, of course, in total, you're going to need 18 of the old handguards. You're going to need 30 of the Kageuchi handguards, and then 36 of the Fame handguards. And that's just for ascending to level 90. Now, as we scroll down here, we're going to talk about triple crowning your Ayato because DPSs, I feel, make an easy triple crown. That's just how it is. First things first, you're going to need the Teachings of Elegance, the Guides of Elegance, and of course, the Philosophies of Elegance. Again, rules of 3. 3 teachings go into a guide, 3 guides go into a philosophy. You're going to need 9 of the teachings, you're going to need 63 of the guides, and a total of 114 of the philosophies. These come from the domain that's in Inazuma that releases Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays for everything, so make sure that you get those specifically done. Now, we're going to need more of these handguards. We were just talking about it. You're going to need 18 more of the old handguards. You're going to need 66 more of the Kageuchi handguards, and you're going to need 93 more of the famed handguards. And not last, we still have a little bit, but the Mudra of the Malefic General, which I messed up on the last video, so please don't kill me. You're going to have to fight the Raiden Shogun world boss. That's right. You're going to need a grand total of 18 of these Mudra of the Malefic Gods. It's one of the... I don't understand why so many of these characters use this. Sorry. It's like 5 a.m. where I am right now. And then you're going to need 3 crowns of insight, which is pretty standard for every character. A grand total of 7.1 million mora to ascend and triple crown your Ayato. Now, let's go ahead and dive into Ayato as a character, right? There's a lot of cool stuff about Ayato that I really like. But first things first, let's talk about his abilities. We're going to go down to talents really quick. Now, his normal charge attack is normal, but here's the Kamisato art Kyoka. Now in Kyoka, Kamisato Ayato shifts positions and enters the Tagamuguri Qingque state. Now after the shift, he will leave a watery illusion of his original location. After it is formed, the watery illusion will explode if opponents are nearby, and after its duration ends, dealing AoE hydro damage. But not only that, in this state, Kamisato Ayato uses his Shun Suiken to engage in blindingly fast attacks, causing damage from the normal attacks to be converted into AoE hydro damage. This cannot be overridden as well, so you could pair him up with a Bennett pretty easy. Well, Bennett C6, so. It also has the following properties. After the Shun Suiken attack hits an opponent, it will grant Ayato the Namisen effect, increasing the damage dealt by Shun Suiken based on Ayato's current max HP. So he is a HP build base, and we'll get into that here in just a little bit. The initial maximum number of Namisen stacks is 4, and 1 stack can be gained through Shun Suiken every 0.1 seconds. This effect will be dispelled when Tagamuguri Qingque ends. Kamisato Ayato's resistance to interruption is increased, and he is unable to use charged or plunging attacks. And of course, Tagamuguri Qingque will be cleared when Ayato leaves the field. Using Kamisato art Kyoka again while in the Tagamuguri Qingque state will reset and replace the pre-existing state. His burst, which is something that you're not going to be using as often, in my personal opinion, goes as follows. It is the Kamisato art Suyu. Unveils a garden of purity that silences a cacophony within. While the space exists, bloom water blades will constantly rain down and attack opponents within its AoE, dealing hydro damage and increases the normal attack damage of characters within. So it's perfect to go burst and then skill, because that makes the most sense. His first ascension passive, Kamisato art Mine wo Matoshi Kiyotaki. Oh my god, that's so much. Goes as follows. Kamisato art Kyoka has the following properties. After it is used, Kamisato Ayato will gain 2 Namisen attack, or Namisen I am so bad with words right now, I'm sorry. Namisen stacks. When the water illusion explodes, Ayato will gain a Namisen effect equal to the maximum number of stacks possible. And then going into his second ascension, the Kamisato art Michiyuku Hagetsu. God, there's so many of these. If Kamisato Ayato is not on the field and his energy is less than 40, he will regenerate 2 energy for himself every second, which is really good to get that burst off to coincide with your skill. Now, let's go ahead and talk about possible weapons. Obviously, his Haran Geppuku Futsu is his best weapon choice. Obtain 12% all elemental damage bonus when other nearby party members use elemental skills. The target equipping this weapon will gain 1 wave spike stack, max 2 stacks. This effect can be triggered once every 0.3 seconds. When the character equipping this weapon uses an elemental skill, all stacks of Wave Spike will be consumed to gain Rippling Upheaval. Each stack of Wave Spike consumed will increase normal attack damage by 20% for 8 seconds. Pretty dang good. Pretty dang pog. Now, of course, you could also use stuff like Primordial Jade Cutter. You could use Mist Splitters Reforged as other 5-star variants, but there's also a couple 4-stars that you can run. Let's go ahead and talk about this one, the Black Sword. Still very good for whatever you're going to need it. Now, if you're needing it for the, crit rate, you could use that instead of Harun Kipuku Futsu. I always mess up that name. But increases damage dealt by normal and charge attack by 40%. Additionally, regenerates 100% of attack as HP when normal and charge attack score a crit hit, which is pretty dang good. Pretty easy heals. +1 for me. Wolffang, being a new weapon that has come out, actually works really well. It's also a crit rate weapon. Damage dealt by elemental skill and elemental burst is increased by 16%. When an elemental skill hits an opponent, its crit rate will be increased by 2%. When an elemental burst hits an opponent, its crit rate will be increased by 2%. Both these effects last 10 seconds separately, have 4 max stacks, and can be triggered once every 0.1 seconds. So pretty dang pog. You can also use a weapon that's now craftable called Finale of the Deep, but obviously if you have the Huron, you wear the Huron on your sleeve, man. Now let's go ahead and talk about artifacts here, because artifacts I feel is pretty self-explanatory for him. I went with a 4-piece Heart of Depth, 2-piece set, Hydro damage bonus plus 15%, and then the 4-piece after using an elemental skill increases normal and charge attack damage by 30%. Everything about Ayato is playing on the skill usage going into the normal attack. It's perfect for him. This set was made for him. You could also do a 4-piece Gladiator, which is, it works, but I would much rather use a 2-piece of Gladiator and maybe another max attacker, because the 4-piece of Gladiator, the wielder of an artifact that uses sword, claymore, or polearm increases their normal attack damage by 35%. Still very good, but you can increase your attack percentage because you scale off attack and HP for Ayato, so it works in that regard. The other 2-piece, the other 2-piece, I can't really, what is it? Is it, I don't think it's this one, but I can't remember what it's called. I don't use it because I think it's terrible, but that's just me. I think no, it's not Echoes. I don't think it's Echoes. But you can use a 4-piece Echoes of the Offering, but I think the best bet is the Heart of Death. Now let's go ahead and talk about some stats here, right? So we're looking at Ayato stats. As we talked about before, crit is great for your DPS. You need crit. So crit rate to crit damage, I'm doing a 62 to 203, pretty good. Energy recharge, very much up there at 135. Could be a lot higher, and you would use it for your burst. So there's that. Now Hydro damage bonus is pretty up there, and then your attack percentage needs to be up there, followed by your HP. Now my max HP for my Ayato here is actually like what, over 21, so we're not capitalizing too much on the max HP type of thing, but I digress. Your main stats that you're focusing on with artifacts is crit, energy recharge, attack percentage, and HP. Now your main stat for your sands should be attack percentage, in my personal opinion. You're going to benefit more from the attack percent than you would the HP percent, so there's that. Your goblet, capitalize on Hydro damage bonus. Don't use this cup that I have because it is trash. And then of course your circlet, crit rate or crit damage depending on what you're needing more of. Now your talent prioritization should be skill and burst, just as a side note for that. Now for this team here, I'm going to be capitalizing on what Furina's buffs are going to be doing, followed by having Jean as that burst healer to help out with keeping our health up, and then Fischl applying that electro bonus so that we could go for kind of an electro charge type of team here. Is it electro charge? I'm pretty sure it is. I could be wrong. I'm crazy. But let's go ahead and dive into this. I really just want to show off Furina and how good she is alongside some of these characters, because she just does really well with any DPS character that I've seen so far. So let's go ahead and grab that. We're going to get some energy right here and then pull that out. Now we're going to save his burst for now, but look at this. This attack is so cool. You just see the damage increasing and it's so freaking nuts. All right, so we're gonna grab this. I don't think we're gonna have enough time to get everything going. Oh my gosh, I just totally failed that for a second. But it's tough because there's so much going on for this set. And we didn't even get to really show off a lot of Ayato stuff. So I want to kind of show this off really quick. We're not going to, we've showed how good the team is. I want to show the difference between the attacks on this. So let me, Furina's thinking needs to go bye-bye. You're going over here. You see that I'm doing like 10,000. Let's activate the burst and then go into it. Oh, come on. Come on, you goofy goober. So the burst is still going. Look at that. It goes a little bit better, but it could be a lot more, especially with Furina's stuff. So let's see if we can get the energy going for Jean here, because she desperately needs it. By having this combination, like, you already see how well this does. And look at that attack speed going crazy. And that's solely because of Jean right there with the weapon that I have on Jean. But Ayato is pretty dang good. But if you're going to compare him to another Hydro DPS like Novelette, he obviously doesn't shine. I think that Ayato is one of those characters that I feel is a lot of fun. And a lot of people might disagree with me on that, but I truly feel he is fun. Sucks that he is not as good as Novelette, but I digress. It is what it is. But if you summon for Ayato, he's definitely worth at least having fun with him. I like him, and I know that there are a few people out there that like him as well. Now, y'all, that's gonna be it for today's video. Let me cut. That's gonna be it for today's video. Let me know in the comments down below what y'all think. Should I just get some rest? I think this is the third video I've recorded today before I've gone to bed, so I'm really tired. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think of Ayato. Is there something that I missed with him? I definitely want to hear y'all's opinions. But again, that's gonna be it. Love you all to death, and as always, we will catch you in the next video. Please take care and be safe.